So not so fast. The High Court in Nairobi has declined to stop Kenyan opposition CORD's planned protests against the Electoral Commission pending a hearing on a petition filed by Jubilee MPs. 5 members of parliament allied to the ruling Jubilee coalition had moved to court to have the planned demonstrations by CORD on IEBC offices countrywide stopped. Well, this came as the Inspector General of the National Police Service, Joseph Boynet, issued a warning to police officers guarding VIPs that they risk being fired if they accompany those they protect to illegal demonstrations.
Brought before Justice Isaac Lenaola's courtroom Thursday morning, precipitated by the events which took place on Monday that saw opposition leaders engage in violent confrontation with police after their attempts to forcefully eject commissioners of the IEBC from office were thwarted. The CORD leadership would then threaten to have more of such demonstrations countrywide, and it is that declaration that is causing Jubilee legislators, 5 of them at least, sleepless nights. Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria, his Dagoretti South counterpart Dennis Waweru, as well as Kabete's Ferdinand Waititu, Kikuyu's Kimani Ichugwa, and Thika's Alice Nganga moved to court seeking to block that from happening, insisting that CORD's way of handling the matter was unlawful. But Judge Lenaola apparently would hear none of that, at least for now, urging that the 5 legislators first serve the CORD leadership as well as the Attorney General with the papers before an inter-parties hearing Friday mid-morning. The Jubilee MPs seeking a legal solution to the standoff between IEBC and CORD that has since drawn in the attention of the head of state, who was categorical about CORD's approach to the matter.
Ambao wanatuambia hawataki IEBC, hiyo ni sawa, ni haki yao, lakini watembee na wafuate ile ratiba ambayo iko katika katiba.
His remarks seemingly echoed today by government spokesman Eric Kiraithe, who insists that the state is not taking sides in the matter.
It is the expectation of the government that every arm involved, every arm of government involved, will give priority to law and order.
Already, the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, has warned security personnel guarding CORD leaders from manning the opposition in what he calls their quest to disrupt normal operations of the IEBC. In a statement Thursday evening, the IG states, quote, "Any officer accompanying any VIP in any situation that may be in breach of the law will be liable to severe disciplinary sanctions that may include dismissal."
We have told IEBC that their duty to ensure fairness and equity in this process is not a discretion, and that to enable every Kenyan to get on the voters' roll is mandatory and constitutional.
Na sisi tumemwambia ati tumeona kama kuna ubaguzi kwa vile zile vifaa vya kusajili watu zimesambazwa katika taifa letu zote.
The opposition, however, remains defiant, insisting that the IEBC cannot be trusted with refereeing the coming general elections, even as the ensuing standoff pitting the CORD leadership and the IEBC commissioners seeks to trigger more fights, whether legal or political, from various quarters within the country's political class. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
So where is President Uhuru Kenyatta headed next, and what goodies will he be carrying along on his next tour of parts of the country? Tonight, Western Kenya is celebrating news that State House has secured an investor willing to sink 6 billion shillings into reviving pan paper mills. As Western tries to make sense of what that kind of money can do, Kisii County landed goodies for 2 major hospitals as Uhuru wound up his tour in this very busy week. KTN's political affairs reporter Duncan Haemba puts Uhuru's latest maneuvers into perspective for you.
President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto pitched camp in the larger and popular Kisii region as their day 2 saw them traverse Kisii County to deliver their political goodies to area residents.
Na ndipo mimi naendelea kuhimiza na kuwasinga Kenya kila pahali
For Kisii County, it was the commissioning of hospital equipment at Kisii Level 5 Hospital worth 450 million shillings, as Gucha Hospital received a facelift worth 380 million shillings. In total, Kisii County receiving 840 million shillings.
Na watafanya kazi nyingine nyingi hapa Kisii. Tunaelewana? Na ni kwa sababu tulikubaliana ya kwamba mambo ya serikali itakuwa ya kusema na kutenda.
This comes barely a day after Nyamira County received political goodies worth 4.2 billion shillings, a clear indication of ruling Jubilee Coalition's determination to woo Kisii region residents who voted overwhelmingly for the opposition Code Alliance in 2013 general election. At the same time, Webuye's Pan Paper Factory, a sleeping giant in Bungoma County, is set for awakening in 3 weeks' time, following the government's deal with an investor who has agreed to inject a sum of 6 billion shillings to resurrect the company.
The handover of the mill to the new investor is scheduled to happen next week, and plans are in place to restart its operations within the next 3 months.
As the announcement went on at State House Nairobi, an additional 1.1 billion shillings being an advance of the second bailout tranche from the government to Mumias Sugar Company as part of its commitment to bring the company back to its feet was being wired to Mumias, which the board has confirmed receipt. It appears the government has embarked on a charm offensive to lock down political support in various parts of the country as part of its campaign strategy, with barely 15 months to next year's general election. Last week, Meru County was given 1 billion shillings for cushioning Miraa farmers, while Ukambani region was also handed a pack of goodies as President Uhuru Kenyatta outlined a raft of development projects for the region. Duncan Hemba, KTN News. Ay, tocha ya ye.
Duncan Hemba there reporting. Yeah, that's what you do when you're doing that thing you just said at the end is called the sign-off. So yeah, the times that happens. All right, so let's look at the two-third gender bill that flopped and try and see if we can explain to you why that particular bill flopped yesterday. A mixture of Kenya's strong patriarchal social system, politics, and seemingly intimidating short text messages from human rights and women's rights group lobby groups helped to derail efforts to vote for the gender bill. Lawmakers came out today to explain what happened yesterday in the National Assembly. Our reporter Patrick Amimo has more.
On Wednesday, members of the National Assembly apparently defied appeals from President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga to turn up in large numbers and vote for the gender bill. Only 247 MPs out of a total of 349 MPs could be marshaled into the chambers after the quorum bell was rung for 30 minutes, double the time stated in the standing orders. But when it came to voting, only 195 MPs supported it, falling short of the threshold by 38 votes. 28 MPs present rejected the bill. Baringo Central MP Sami Mwaita and Sirisia MP John Waluke explained why they voted against the bill.
There are so many women in this house. But yesterday, they did not turn up in a big number. Why should we vote for them, yet themselves they are not even coming in the chambers to vote?
My decision was informed by the fact that competition should be fair without any of the ground being tilted, that this should favor one gender or the other. And secondly, this is one rule which was one of the 20% in the Constitution, which should have been hammered properly.
Of course, some members, women members of parliament who are not present, some of them were unwell in hospital, others were, the president was visiting some parts of this country, and the first lady also was visiting some other parts of this country, so they had to be away. Only 2 or 3 were out of the country.
Let us also remember that over 100 MPs were not in the house yesterday. And really, we needed less than 50, MPs to make the bill pass.
Interestingly, 5 minutes earlier, a constitutional bill by Homa Bay MP Peter Kaluma that seeks to stop courts from interfering with matters pending before Parliament had been unanimously passed with 2/3 majority. 242 MPs supported it, only 5 rejected.
My bill was being patched together with the 2/3 gender, rule bill, the women empowerment bill, to enable as many MPs to be there as possible. My bill was a bet
Short text messages sent to majority of male lawmakers poisoned the mood after they were considered threatening. A sample of the text sent through SMS code 20465 read, quote, "Dear Honorable MP, please note that voting for the constitutional bills is public. We will be watching and counting on you to vote for the bill." End of quote.
I got some texts from FIDA, from KNHCR, doing a lot of lobbying, which is way beyond the normal lobbying. And you know what the FIDA has been doing in this country? FIDA, we need to start FIDA for men also. You know the way FIDA have been hammering men all over the place. We thought there's something behind which we are not being told.
When I was sent a text message by FIDA and human rights, I think it provoked me, and I said I'll not be intimidated and I'm not going to vote yes. I voted nay.
Some lawmakers we spoke to said they rejected the bill to assist the government effort in controlling the ballooning wage bill. Other reasons cited was lack of clarity on how the special seats would be filled. The process has been abused by those in political party leadership, where majority of the nominees have been selected to parliament based on nepotism, cronyism, or other unorthodox means. Last week Thursday, women MPs lost bid to have a special election kit to fund their campaigns.
If we were to give a special fund to the women who are aspiring for seats and they go out there and campaign, then it means more of them are going to be elected in even the constituency seats and in the county assemblies. What that means, therefore, we don't need to nominate so many, which eats into the taxpayers' account.
Some were not persuaded because the bill did not specify how you would get these additional gender numbers. But those are matters for legislation, and those are matters we can negotiate later in the Elections Act.
We have here quite a number of members of parliament who fought with men, and they are here, and quite a number of them. And some of these many leaders in the past have made it. The Ngulis of this world have made it. Why don't they make it now? Why should we make it so soft? Simply saying it's because of the gender.
Speaker Justin Muturi invoked his powers and gave MPs a full week to lobby and make a second attempt Thursday next week. If the bill is lost next Thursday, it will have to wait for 6 months before being reintroduced. Patrick Amimo, KTN News.
Patrick Amimo there reporting. Let's see what happens next week on Thursday. So here's the thing. You're watching KTN Prime, and we thank you for staying with us. Allow me to introduce my colleague Zinzi Kibaki. She's not a new face. For those of you who've been watching News Center on KTN News, then she's a very familiar face. She looks at what trends on social media, just help us to understand what sort of discussions people are having on social media. So tonight, it has been raining in Nairobi. Lots of people are stranded. Zinzi, what's going on?
It's been pouring like crazy, Linda. And the thing is, before we can even get to the conversation, I feel like there's a video that will really showcase how bad the rains are. It's only a 30 seconds video. It's going around on Twitter. Let's begin with that before we get into the details.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
Shika na mkono hizi. Shika na mkono hivyo. Kuja sasa. Kuja sasa.
Linda, the struggle is real. The struggle is real.
And then someone is selling a shika na mkono.
Do you see how she first of all threw her bag and she's like, all right, so how are we doing this? And she got down to business and there's a lady behind her. So I'm guessing it was like an entire trade of people.
You'd actually do that. I mean, you have a handbag, so you just throw it at someone and you hope by the time you get your handbag back, everything is
intact, yeah?
But okay,
yes. But also what you're looking at right now, these are a few of the images going around on social media. This is what is happening. These are the pictures you're seeing, cars rather being, washed away. What you've just seen, people trying to really get to dry land. Look at this. This is around Kencom. That is what, and then of course there's always that one guy. There's always that one guy.
There's always someone who's trying to take pictures.
Exactly. But that is how bad the situation is, Linda. And the thing is, you want to remember back in December 2015, when El Nino was around, it was the topic of the conversation everywhere.
And these are exactly almost the same pictures that we saw back then.
Exactly.
So you're asking yourself, one would ask, so what is not being done?
Exactly.
Every time it rains, we experienced this.
This is the same story. And in last year we saw the governors asking for about what 15 billion Kenyan shillings,
and especially when everyone knew El Nino was on the way.
Exactly.
So a lot of money was released.
5 billion from contingency funds. Contingency funds is like you know, an emergency funds for rainy days, like literally rainy days. And then 10 billion from investors. But the thing is, guys are asking, where did it go to? And the thing, Linda, I don't know if very many Kenyans know this, but there's something known as National Disaster Operations Center.
Yes.
The main mandate is to make sure that they're there during such emergencies. They're supposed to be around 700,000 NYS, you know, helping Kenyans during such situations. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So that money that we're talking about, the 10 billion Kenyan shillings, the 15 billion Kenyan shillings, people on social media are asking both President Uhuru Kenyatta and the governors, where did that money go to? Because if it was genuinely used for their purpose, this is not what we'll be seeing right now.
What are you supposed to do if you're driving a small car?
I do not know, Linda. I don't know. It's really scary.
I love small cars. I wouldn't survive in this.
She does. She does. It's true. And the thing is, Linda, all that money would have gone to repairing roads. You know, tents in case of people need shelter.
Question is, did it?
And that's the thing. That's why Kenyans are asking the tough questions on Twitter.
Yeah. How much was released? Who got what? What was done with that money? We saw this December last year.
Yes.
Why are we seeing a replica?
And the thing is, Linda, this cannot be happening in Nairobi City, one of the biggest and busiest capital cities in Eastern Central Africa.
And of course, a lot of people angry at Governor Evans Kidero and ask him, okay, yeah.
Exactly. But the thing is, Linda, at the end of the day, we also have a role to play as Kenyans. We have these tendencies of, you will drink a soda, throw it out of the window. It goes straight into you know, blocking pipes. You know, it's a two-edged sword here. Both the government and Kenyans really need to play a role when it comes to this. And if we can't handle this, what about the climate change that
a lot of people are going to take exception to that. They're going to say it is not our duty to clean up. There is someone else who's supposed to clean up.
True.
Trust me, that conversation has been had 1,001 times.
But I feel like if you're going to have sugarcane, put it in a paper bag and wait through it, you know, outside when you get to a dustbin. It's just, you know, and the thing is, Linda, I don't know if you know, there's something called El Nino Contingency Plan. Apparently it's supposed to be there from 2014 to 2018. It's supposed to help about 1.5 million Kenyans in such situations. What is happening? Where is the strategic plan? If there are certain systems put into place, why are we not seeing them being implemented, Linda? I know.
Yeah, those are the questions that every single person is asking right now, especially the ones who are stranded. I hear Thika Road is so bad.
I know. Ojiji Road.
You cannot believe it. Ojiji Road. A lot of people are stranded. And lots of people are just hoping that tomorrow it will not rain, because if it does, then that is something.
We've got to prepare for a very rough weekend if this is just starting.
Boots.
Jackets. Like everything. Stay indoors. Where are you going?
You can't stay indoors.
You have to, Linda. Look at the situation in Nairobi.
People, you're watching KTN Prime. Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a short break. We'll be back with more news. Zinzi, thank you. As always, it's a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. The Kenyan government has announced that the body of former First Lady Lucy Kibaki will arrive in Nairobi on Sunday morning. Government spokesman Eric Kiraithe revealed today that former President Mwai Kibaki and some of his children will accompany the body on the flight from London. Burial arrangements are underway. In Nyeri County, KTN's Carol Nderi caught up with a university student who has very special memories that capture Lucy Kibaki's soft side. Take a look.
Much has been said about Lucy Muthoni Kibaki, more so by those who might have crossed her path and found themselves on the receiving end of her wrath. However, another side of Mama Lucy is much less known by the public. A much softer one can say. One that we found out from our visit to Ngangari the estate in Nyeri County to meet up with 19-year-old Stella Wanjiku. Stella's path met Lucy Kibaki's some 10 years ago when the young Stella scored highly in that year's KCPE, garnering 413 marks. But unable to proceed with the secondary education due to the biting poverty that had made her life difficult for her and her single disabled mother and a young sister. When Stella Wanjiku's story was published in the dailies, Lucy Kibaki called immediately. It was the beginning of a new journey for the brilliant but shy Stella, who is now a first-year university student at the University of Nairobi pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering.
It was back in 2010. I performed well in my KCPE, but I didn't have someone to take me to secondary school. So the media highlighted my story, and it's from there that I got First Lady as my sponsor.
For Stella, talking to Mama Lucy on phone was almost surreal.
it was great. It was the best news, and I didn't think it would go that far. I didn't think I would get someone, such a prominent person coming to my help. Yeah, but it was God's will and it was fine.
Mama Lucy went on to see her through her 4 years at the Bishop Getimungandu Girls, where she sat her KCSE in 2014. She surely did not disappoint. She scored a straight A of 82 points.
And she's someone who likes empowering girls, because even from the conversations we had, you could feel it and you could understand that she had faith in you and she believed that you would become somebody better than the way you are. So she's a wonderful lady. Yeah.
Lucy would occasionally call to find out about Stella's progress, and when her illness overwhelmed her, her daughter Judy Kibaki stepped in and ensured that Stella's fees were paid on time and a little pocket money to see her through.
Yeah, they're very supportive. They've taken me this far, and let me say, they've worked with me. There's no one time that they never came to help me. Anytime I have any problem I want to tell them, they're always there. Yeah, the support is overwhelming.
Stella's mother, 44-year-old Eunice Wanjira, is a casual laborer in Nyeri. Sometimes she plaits people's hair in Nyeri town to make ends meet. Were it not for Mama Lucy Kibaki, her daughter's life would have probably been cast in gloom.
Lakini kupita ikawa ni furaha ya machozi. Juu sikuwa na kitu ya muendesha shule mbele. Lakini wakati ule niliandamana na medias, hiyo kitu wakaipublish. Ikawa kila kitu kimeipublishiwa na tukapata furaha tele kuona tumepata msaidizi na ndiye Mama Lucy Kibaki.
Since she interacted with Lucy, what person would she say she really was?
Yenyewe na kwa hii dunia sijaona mama mwingine kama huyo. Juu vile amekwambia. Yeye ni mtu wa kukeep time, ni mtu wa kukeep promises, zile zote amekupatia. Umempatia. Na mkiendelea na yeye utaona kweli huyo alikuwa mama mzuri sana. Juu kila kitu alikuwa ana take serious. Lakini ukimwambia kitu ambaye anaona kama una joke na yeye, atakuwa mkali kwako. Hata wewe huwezi ukaona kila mtu anakuchezea alafu unanyamasia. Na hapo ndipo watu wanaona yeye ni mkali lakini sio ukali.
For now, Lucy is at home after University of Nairobi students were sent home. She had just 3 weeks left to the completion of her first year of mechanical engineering. Carol Nderi, KTN News, Nyeri County.
Shareholders are in for the long haul if they do not raise the 10 billion shilling Central Bank asked them to remit as part of a recovery plan fronted by the regulator. Imperial Bank Limited has been in receivership since October of 2015 for malpractices at the bank that included manipulation of its information technology systems.
As Chase Bank reopened on Wednesday, Imperial Bank depositors remain an anxious lot. Central Bank Governor Patrick Njoroge explains that unlike Chase Bank, Imperial Bank Limited is a different story.
Imperial Bank is a tougher nut to crack, also because of the, let's say, lack of cooperation, to put it mildly, of the shareholders.
When Imperial Bank was placed under receivership, the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, KDIC, was appointed receiver manager for IBL, and in December, CBK executed a depositor settlement plan giving customers access to a maximum of 1 million shillings. This was done through KCB and Diamond Trust Bank. However, Imperial Bank customers with over $1 million in their accounts, who are also the bank's large depositors, have had to wait longer to access their money after shareholders in February filed a court case to block the payment of large depositors as they fought to save the bank from imminent liquidation.
Imperial Bank shareholders, on the other hand, have been extremely confrontational. Extremely. It's not an issue of money. They are people of means. Okay, so you think you have the 10 billion? Bring it here. I need sight of it. Have they done that? The answer is zero, nada, zilch.
Large depositors expected to have access to their accounts by end of March, but Central Bank asked for an extra 90 days to look at the data from the bank to verify its financial position, as it had been alleged that 70% of fraud was within the bank that had systematically manipulated its IT systems.
If they want us to meet them in court, we will meet them in court.
Joy Doreen Bira, KTN News.
Tough talking CBK governor there. Now, Kenya's furniture market was estimated to be worth $496 million in sales in 2013 and growing a 10% compound annual growth rate between 2009 and 2013. However, not every player from this industry benefits as hoped. This week on The Adventurer, we have a special episode where we look at the challenging side of carpentry. Here now is Ashley Mazuri on The Adventurer.
There are times when one needs well-made furniture at express mode. That's when most visit Nairobi's Ngong Road, a street known for carpenters and metal workers providing unique designs to their customers. This week on The Adventurer, we're going to be looking into the business of carpentry and what it takes to sustain the business.
Naitwa David Kedogo. Mimi nafanya kazi ya furniture na nimekaa hapa kutoka mwaka wa 1989.
Claiming to be the first to own a furniture store in the famous streets, David's passion for carpentry goes way back when he allocated to Nairobi after school.
Nikikuja nyuma, mimi ndio mwanzilishi wa hii kazi ya furniture kwa Ngong Road.
Even with his 17 years of experience, life in the business hasn't been easy for David. Getting customers is hard. According to him, even with stiff competition from different workshops who have young talents with creative minds, he goes ahead and makes his furniture waiting for a buyer. A process that can be hectic, as at times a month may go without him making a purchase.
Ile shida huwa tunapitia kwa maana saa yote si ati unaweza pata mteja kwa kila siku. Unaweza kukaa saa zingine mwezi moja hujapata. Baada ya mwezi moja saa zingine unaweza kuja uangukie siku moja. Alafu saa baada ya hapo unalikawa hiyo mwezi ulikuwa saa zingine umekaa bila.
A World Bank report states that Kenya's jewelry sector is highly fragmented. Entities operate individually and compete against each other, resulting in less than optimal productivity and value added. The report further states that the industry's predominant use of manual tools and equipment, limited levels of automation and poor access to electricity affects production and capacity, as well as the quality range of their products. David explains further on how he tackles such challenges.
Vile tuko wengi namna hivi, inabidi sasa wengine wana reduce bei.
With hurdles faced from time to time, during low times, David earns a low turnover of as little as 100,000 and still needs to pay taxes.
Hiyo taxes ya kanzo tena sometime huwa inatusumbua saa zingine. Juu ni 200 kwa kila wiki. Workshops huwa tunalipa 12,000.
Despite all this, carpenters like David still hold to their passion, hoping the future may bring better days. Ashley Mazuri, and this is The Adventure.
A very good evening and welcome to today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi. Now, 400 meters KDF champion Alphanas Kishoyan will face off with World Indo champion Boniface Moresi in the 400 meters finals of the Kenya Defence Forces Athletics Championships on Friday. Roslyn Washira reports the two qualified in the finals comfortably by winning their respective semi-finals.
Sprinters were the main attraction at Day 2 of the Kenya Defence Forces Athletics Championships at the Moi International Sports Centre, Kasarani. The first 400 meters men's semi-final saw Alphonse Kishoyan take to the track as he seeks to defend his KDF title in the one-lap race. He comfortably won his heat to go through to the finals.
I already have a qualifying time, so I just want to perfect my time.
After his absentia last year due to a series of injuries, Boniface Moresa hopes to pick up from where he left. Moresa, who qualified for the World Indoors Finals, qualified for the finals of the 400 meters race, winning easily.
Mimi naona napiki mzuri. By the time ikifika time ya Rio, takuwa nimepick shape. So saa hii ni sharpen kidogo.
Both Kishoyan and Moresa have qualified for the Rio Olympics. They will meet in the 400 meters finals on the final day of the KDF Championships on Friday.
Siwezi sema, pia tutungoje kesho tuone venye itakuwa. You never know. Chenye kitahappen kesho. It will be very hard and then I don't know.
The 800 meters men's semi-finals saw Olympic bronze medalist Timothy Kitum prove he's a man on mission by authoritatively winning the 800 meters semi-final that saw Jackson Kivuva fade off and fail to qualify for the finals. The KDF Championships will come to an end Friday. Lane Washira, KTN News.
Now, the 4 days Confederation of African Football Officials visit to Kenya to inspect facilities proposed to host the CHAN 2018 came to an end with a clear indication that the local federation plus the government needs to work out even more so as to have a successful tournament in 2018. CAF delegation pointed out that the proposed venues are not yet set and ready for the tournament. After making inspection visits to various proposed venues including the Nyayo and Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi, Moi Stadium Kisumu and the Mombasa County Stadium for the 2018 African Nations Championship competition, a delegation from the Confederation of African Football is far from being impressed by Kenya's readiness to host the championships. CAF delegation led by Vice President Kabela Kamara, who doubled up as the chairman of the CHAN Tournament Organizing Committee, and Secretary General Hicham El Armani, pointed out that more needs to be done.
We just started the hard work here, giving the full opportunity to Kenya to make it a tremendous tournament. So to say that Kenya is not ready today, yes, today they are not ready, but it makes sense. We don't expect them to be ready in 2 months, but we're going to have a realistic deadline based on the exchanges, based on what we've seen, based on the exchanges with the authorities, with the federation, with the governors.
There is a guarantee that is given by government to CAF that is budget related, that the country will make sure that this happens. And so no doubt that a lot of that budget obviously will come from government.
Kenya has 18 months to make sure that they lay down required structures and facilities will be again inspected in June this year.
Once we have exchanged yesterday with the Deputy President of the Republic and his willingness and commitment to make it a success, we feel that we're going to have a great tournament.
But for the avid sportsmen and women in the country, the wait is still on for the pre-election pledge by Jubilee government to construct 5 national sporting stadiums in Kisumu, Mombasa, Nakuru, Eldoret and Garissa. Something that would have eased Kenya in hosting CHAN championships in 2018. Moses Wahisi, KTN Sports. To matters Kenya Premier League now, Mathare United blocked Tuskers' ambition to go on top of the Kenya Premier League table by ensuring they did not win but settled to a 2-2 draw in the match that was played at Machakos Stadium. Gor Mahia had a positive outing with a 2-0 victory against host Bandari, while John Nairuka and Mark Makwata grabbed a goal apiece to register a 2-1 win over Ulinzi Stars. For Ulinzi Stars against Chemil Sugar.